Okay, as far as hanging tools, my favorite solution is the 8/32 machine screw and the nuts that go with them. I find they're pretty versatile and they fit right through the 3/16 holes that are already pre-drilled in here. I use those for the most part, but of course also you've got the option of using pegboard hangers. Okay, so consideration that's important is what tools you use the most. I find it very useful to have socket bars. So I have a metric, I have a standard, an extension bar, and this is 3/8, so a 3/8" ratchet. Of course, the bonus of this sort of a toolbox organizer is that I have an entire other side to use as well. Double-sided, 4 times with both boards. Okay, this socket bar that I have, the hanging hole is not large enough because basically I have to put a 8/32 nut on the outside, so I have to be able to slip this on and off over there. Otherwise, my experience is this bar will fall off. So I have to be able to get this nut through there. Okay, so now we just spin a 8/32 nut and screw on there. A newly enlarged hole on here. I'll show you first. You put the nut on. This is basically going to hold this in place. Now, no matter shake this thing around, the weight's going to keep it on there. The nut's going to hold it. So our metrics are in place. Okay, I'm using existing holes on the pegboard for these. So I'm going to mount some standards here. But you'll notice down here at the bottom that this is excessively long. So I'm going to have to lop this off here. Got this shortened up, filed it down, drilled a bigger hole there. And over she goes. Okay, let's not forget the humble pegboard hanger to put some of these tools to rest. This one right here looks like it's going to turn out just fine for my ratchet. Actually, it locks right in there. Not likely to go anywhere. Now for the bar, I discovered that the bend on this one is not quite at the right angle. This is made of soft enough metal. No, I'm not brute strong here. I just open it up a little bit and then put it in place. And now it's resting on there. Just there. Can slide this way and that a little bit. If that would prove to be a problem, I would simply stick a 8/32 right there. The thing is, you don't want these tools, open up your toolbox and there they are laying on the bottom. Just the way they were before you built this. That would be a step backwards. Or at least no gain. Stopped for no gain. Yeah, now I can't go that way. Can't go this way because of the ridge on it. So those are the things I look at on this. I want everything to stay on there. Okay, as we move along on the board, we can see opportunities for certain tools to fit into openings. Such an example right here. Got a line like this from these two from the ratchet. And what I'm going to try to do here is use existing holes. A little lazy, don't feel like drilling a hole. Got one there. I've got another one down here. This one. So I'll stick an 8/32 down here. Okay, so the solution we found for our vice grip pliers is to use 2 existing holes and thread a couple of 10/32 nuts on them. When you put this back in, you just go, and as you can see, the nut is going to keep it on there. Rattle test, angular test, passing all tests. You know, I'm looking at safety, and one consideration is where you're going to put a bulky item like this. And obviously we have room in the middle here, and so I'm going to fasten this safety glass case onto the inside right here. Okay, as for the safety glasses, then I'm going to remove this extra piece here, which I don't need. And what we're basically going to do is fasten the case right to the inside here, running a nut and bolt right through there. Okay, the next challenge is to mount this utility knife. That's one must-have tool in my opinion for this, and the tool will hang perfectly. I can't unfortunately get a peg hook in here, so I'm going to have to go with 832. And I picked out an inch long one. And this will be fine and dandy, easy as can be, with one problem though. It's going to come off of here, guaranteed. So what I'm going to do is remove the threads on about the final 1/4 inch or so, the end of it, and then bend it up. And to do that, I'm turning a couple of nuts on here. The reason for this is to protect the threads. So what I'm going to do is just pretty much take the threads off and then bend it in a vise, with the end result being that I'll have an upturn on it. Okay, so we're going to put an upturn on the last 1/4 inch or so of this 1 inch long 1032 bolt using a Dremel, a Ryobi cutting tool with a little cutting wheel on it. I'm going to remove the threads. I'm going to put a bend in it. I have tons of tools here, so I shouldn't have any trouble finding something. Just an upward bend like that. Now we turn this into a retainer. Just one more, so we can put this one in here that's going to be for the utility knife. And of course we're able to thread our nut on there over the removed threads. Upturn it, make sure it's upturned when you tighten it. Pass the test, it's not coming off. Okay, I like the idea of keeping like items together. So I moved down this knife, utility knife. I've decided to put my earplugs alongside the safety glasses. Again, I'm using 832 here. Then quit dropping it. And just tap that on there. What I've done with the earplugs, keep a little package like this, and probably from some little washers or nuts or whatever. They're kind of handy. Slip the earplugs in there, and then hang them. And for the finishing touch, we'll add a little nut on the end so that this can't slip off. Okay, so I'm going to continue to keep populating this. And what I've done here is just added one of these tool hanging hooks, which happens to work perfectly for my side cutters. Perfect clearance top and bottom, without having to drill any holes. So whenever possible, you want to do that. Okay, one item that is absolutely essential in a toolbox is a screwdriver. And this is a style I like to use. What I have here are multi-bits that can fit into this one screwdriver, so I don't need to stock 5 or 6 different screwdrivers. Now, the problem I have with the one I have is it's too tall. This is going to butt up against the top of the toolbox cover. So what I need to do on this is to mount it at an angle. What I've done is taken a pegboard hanger and very carefully marked it out using the screwdriver as a guide where I want it. I used one existing hole, drilled a hole, and now my hanger is at an angle, so my screwdriver fits in here with clearance top and bottom. Now the other problem with this is very simple. There's an extra hole in the top, so I'm going to use a 832 machine screw and nut. Put it in there, I tighten it up with my screwdriver. Voila, I just mounted 10 screwdrivers. Okay, for me, another type of must-have instrument in here is something to write with, like a pencil, a Sharpie marker. I've got a centering punch, a nail set, and a screw starter. And this type of thing, to mount it, what I've used is some molding. Got some wood molding left over from some other project. Cut it in half. I sized them out to the area where they can fit in here. there's an opening. Drilled a couple holes in here, again using the same hardware, 832. To determine where to put this one, this top one, I took my shortest item, which is the nail set, and determined where it can rest most comfortably. There's a little ridge here where it gets wider. And so I made a line there and then mounted this one here. And then as far as the holes, just sized them all out to fit the item. You know, got my Sharpie here. Each one of them is really only, for the most part, one place where it can go. But I'll also show you another way to mark that. And then I just used existing holes that were in here and drilled them through from the other side so that it fits in kind of like this. And again, the same old common hardware, the 832 hardware. And then just, you can see the concept here. It's got to have something to stop it on the bottom. So that's where the other piece, the bottom piece, comes in, which is just parallel to the bottom. And they fit right in there, each one having its own slot. So that's that solution. Okay, it's time to put a handle on it. So once again, thumb and forefinger, pick it up. No. No. Find the point where you can balance it. Happens to be right there. Okay. Now let's measure 2 inches on either side of that. It's a matter of drilling a hole. This is a 5/16 or 3/8 inch hole here. Okay, make sure you don't run through any tools on the other side. Thing is, anything that does get in the way, you can always take a step back and move it. None of these positions are absolutely sacred here. So I've got my 14-inch strap ready to go. Now what I discovered works best on here for balance is to put one through one way and the other through in the other direction. So, and this is kind of sized out to be the right size. You don't want to make it too much shorter. I mean, these aren't, you know, maybe they don't look the greatest, but they're darn light and easy to make. Like I said, one from one side, one side on the other side. So when it's done, it's balanced. Tools are kind of even. I've got my holder and my hanger right in the middle. Okay, I'm just going to show you a few things about stand 2, which I completed. So I went into some detail on one. A couple things that might be a little bit different that I've done on here. I've managed to get a large screwdriver, known in the trade as a toad sticker, in behind using one of the peg hooks from the hammer, which I hung with just a couple of U-shaped pegboard hangers in the bottom. Anyway, I got it on there, and I also managed to, by adjusting the angle on this U-hanger, to get this little end of it into the screwdriver to seat in there. Some items are quite simple. Allen wrenches, just in and out right over the screw. Got a longer 832 in there, maybe 1.5 inches, and just close it like that. Simple thing like a tape measure. Just fits over an 832 with a nut on the end to hold it, so it can't slip off. I like to have a little level on here, so I did that just with a angled up, a bent, modified 832 hardware, and on the other end it's just a screw, machine screw and a nut to hold it. On the other side, what I try to do when you want to try to balance this out so the heavyweight tools on one side are balanced out by heavier tools on the other. Since I have the hammer over here, I kind of put a couple of a crescent and a channel lock pliers over on this end.